Today I'm watching Peaky Blinders Season 6, Episode 4. Crazy that there's only a few episodes left of the entire series. I have heard rumors about a movie being possibly made, so I'm very curious to see how it all end and what that would look like or when that would be released. The previous episode was heartbreaking. Unfortunately, Ruby passed away from tuberculosis. They weren't able to save her, and that heartbreaking last scene with Tommy showing up just too late, it was just such a gut punch, and I'm very worried to see what he's going to be up to now. They invited Mosley and Diana to their house to discuss things. I'm very curious to see where that's going to go. Arthur met with a fellow addict, and it seems like they had a really good chat, so I'm hoping he's doing okay. I've really enjoyed this series so far. It's definitely going to be bittersweet to see how it all comes to an end. But thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content.
In this heart
So sad. Poor Ruby.
this is my grief.
And like a cold open too, no credits. We had the recap, but yeah, straight into it.
I've written some words. I can't speak them.
Oh no.
You speaking for me?
Arthur's not doing good. I don't think he can make it either. Oh my gosh.
Was that luxury? Because gold doesn't work.
Yeah, we saw in the previous episode he had tried to buy his way out of whatever this was, and
We will make peaceful and honest and good and send it on down the river better than it was. In our memory we will do this.
he's gonna change. He's gonna give up illegal things.
But it's a yard like this, with horses and boats for her to play on.
Tommy's usually so well composed, and he's definitely struggling.
What do you mean?
Yeah, he still thinks it's a curse. Not a medical condition.
Are you going?
I was worried this would happen. He would just go on a rampage now, and that seems to be the path he's chosen. And it's interesting having the audio. Like, we can't hear what Lizzie's saying, but I definitely feel like it's something along the lines of, like, don't go, like, what are you gonna do? And he's already lost a member of his family. And if he does something that ends, you know, with something happening to him, then it'll just be Lizzie and his son. Oh my gosh. Yeah, come back. Oh, my heart. Oh, poor Lizzie. That's interesting, like this whip pan shot.
Yeah? Who's asking?
I'm here on behalf of the Blue Sapphire.
Oh! Oh my god, Tommy! I know he said revenge, but my god! I wasn't expecting him just to walk in with a machine gun and start. Oh my gosh. It's not gonna bring her back. You might feel better temporarily, I don't know, but my gosh, this is gonna get messy.
Cry, remember
And this like handheld shaky shot as he's, you know, walking through the forest
by and love
with this really like soft music. Oh,
murdered peace of mind.
it feels like they're relying more on music to tell the story for these past, even like this first few scenes. We heard a lot of that first song, and then this one when we don't hear Tommy crying, the song's obviously playing, which seems to be very descriptive of what's the current situation.
It's just took away your child.
Get out of the car, let's mate.
The same spirits want to give you a different child, Tommy.
What? What is she suggesting? With her?
Matter. She said you slept together under a hazel tree in May 1914.
Tommy is a secret child?
But she fell pregnant.
What?
If the losing of rubies left a hole in your heart, I'll send him to you.
She's like, do you want to just take this child that you've never met before? Oh, of course, she's gonna want more gold. What is Tommy gonna do? Like, what's Lizzie gonna say if he brings home the secret child that he didn't know existed until now, and also dealing with the loss of his daughter? Oh my gosh.
The doctor from the sanatorium called and said that he needs to speak with you urgently.
Oh no. Oh no, now what?
But I think you are now beyond the help of doctors.
Well. Oh yeah, she's done.
Francis said Arthur's here.
Does Tommy have tuberculosis now? Oh man. That scene just reminded me of Grace for some reason, and I wish Grace had been there, and it's just interesting to think how different the story would have been if Grace would have still been alive. Not that I don't think he doesn't love Lizzie, but I just think it was different.
I gave you one too many to the head.
It was a draw, though.
Tommy blames himself for the way Arthur behaves. That's such an interesting shot to see the two of them so well dressed in these, fancy suits on the floor next to these kegs in the cellar. Like, just the contradiction between those two, like something really fancy in a kind of dingy area.
So we don't stuff anymore. You don't drink no more, Arthur.
Yeah, he said he hasn't drank since Polly died. And I guess we're breaking that with Tonight's the Night. Oh my gosh.
On the ground. Like a f***ing tunnel.
And it's interesting to have that call back to the first season. And we haven't really heard Tommy talk about how he felt after Polly's death.
You've wanted me to win ever since.
Yeah, he's definitely like Tommy's biggest cheerleader.
And I'll change the f***ing world.
Well, we'll see if one of those is true. I'm very curious. I hope Arthur can... I know this obviously triggered some painful memories, and and if Tommy starts... They can't both be drunk. Like, we need one of them to be sober.
Brought up some Jews. And while we ate our eggs, they were forced to eat grass.
What a bunch of assholes. Oh my
As we
god.
sipped our coffee.
Like, it's just a casual day for them to torture people. What a bunch of dicks.
We should all remember this is serious business.
She's horrible. They're both horrible.
Now look what you've done. You've killed the mood.
She's like, oh, did my torture story ruin the dinner party? Oh, my bad.
A sad misfortune came over me.
Is he just standing in the corner? Oh my god, that's so creepy. His like dark suit just blends in perfectly. Yeah, Ada's not gonna stand for that. Oh no, Ada. Lizzie, oh my heart. It's definitely been a slower episode, but I don't care. I'm still enjoying it, and especially with it being the last season, I'm like, take your time. Tell whatever stories you need to tell. Arthur. Jesus.
Slipping down my slumber and
it's interesting to have a montage of, these guys all in their separate places, but still struggling. Oh. That'd be a horrifying sight to see out your window.
President of the United States, which is kind of why I'm here, right?
We do indeed.
Whoa, that was cool.
But we represent the true, liberated spirit of the country that populated your own.
These whip pans are so cool.
You run as a socialist.
And the slow pan back to get his answer instead of these like frantic, disorientating pans. And the show is always so like conscious of their lighting, and the background is completely black except for this. Oh no. Oh no, Tommy, don't do it. No, Tommy.
Of a tailor in Stechford. They changed their name to Thorn to stop the bricks coming through the window.
Much like is happening now.
Boston is now officially open for the importation of your merchandise.
Yikes. Oh my gosh.
Good.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what World War II is going to do to the Shelby family. If they're going to stay in England, if they're going to get out. We know what happens. They don't. So it's interesting always watching historical shows. Yeah, and the dark background with the dark clothing just makes them like even eerier, 'cause all these shadows, and it fits the mood of this conversation. And oh, Ruby's chair. My heart. But yeah, just the total absence of light, which I guess you could compare to Ruby's absence as well. Oh my god, oh my god.
It's urgent. I'm a senior consultant.
We know Tommy was having seizures earlier in the season as well. And he threw her chair in the fire.
I have to change. And change for good. Lizzie.
I'm curious to see if that'll happen and what his version of good means.
Wow.
Oh my. Oh my. Mosley and Gina? What? What? Oh my. While Michael's in prison? Oh my. That they're supposed to call each other at midnight. And this is the band that sings the theme song.
So why don't you just tell me what you actually want?
She's got a point. Oh. Oh no. Where's this going?
When he's in Berlin, he'll be in the room when he meets senior members of the German government.
Oh, sending Gina in.
What are Michael's real intentions towards me, Gina? And if you lie, I will know.
Do you want to know what Michael plans to do?
He intends to complete the deal. And then you both walk away.
She is lying, and he knows it. Yeah, he's like, okay, sure, whatever. Complete the deal and walk away. Nope.
10 days ago, there was no TB found in your lung.
Well, that's good.
But I am afraid they found something else.
Oh, not so good.
I didn't offer you tea. You look like death. Do you want tea?
You look like death to his doctor. Come on.
Of your skull. It is not cancer. It is tuberculoma.
What?
Dissociation, hallucinations.
All of the above. Yeah, check those off.
Why didn't you come and see me?
I have work to do.
Work obviously becomes more important than his health. Yeah, he's not going to go see the doctor.
Any attempt to remove it would result in trauma and brain hemorrhage.
At the very least, especially in this day and age.
They all said they would not operate, as it would be futile.
Yeah, like even if you wanted to, nobody's willing to do it. Oh.
As a friend.
Well, if he hadn't started drinking before, I think he's going to start now.
Eventually, you will need people around you constantly.
He's not going to do that. There's no way. There's no way Tommy's going to let other people take care of him.
Now you have a new one. Inside you. You cannot defeat it.
He had talked about that before.
I will telephone you when I get back to London.
No, don't have enough time. You're an account to give a number now.
Unless he's going to think it's 1 year.
Perhaps 18 months.
Oh.
Fine, that's all I need to know. I'll adjust my finances accordingly. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow.
I will write you explaining the full implications.
Yep, thank you.
He's like, yep, done. I know what I need to know. I've got my answer. See ya. I don't think they ever said how old Tommy is, or I think we're assuming he's in his 40s, but still, that's not very long at all. Yes, it's not an accountant.
That was just a bill I wasn't expecting, you know.
A bill of death. Just ominous with your life.
There will be a war in this family.
Oh, Polly, I miss you. Who is she whispering kill about? Oh man, the show. So that was my first time watching Peaky Blinders season 6 episode 4. It definitely feels like they're wrapping things up or trying to, set things up for the next few episodes. There's only 2 episodes left of the entire series. I knew they were shorter seasons going into it and that there's only 6 seasons, but it was just been such a crazy show so far. I'm very curious and anxious to see how it'll all come to an end. We did see Tommy seeking revenge after Ruby passes away, and we have her funeral in this episode, and Tommy, I don't think, knows how to process his grief and maybe blames himself a little bit and needs somewhere to put that anger, and I feel like blaming it on this Sapphire that's cursed that took out Grace as well is the easiest route for him to take, and I thought it was going to get a lot worse than that. It was just that one scene, and now he keeps saying about how he's going to change for good, and he's like, I see things differently now, so I'm very curious to see what that means for him, if it'll actually happen. Last few episodes, I guess we will find out. Definitely a lot more dialogue in this episode as opposed to some of the more action-packed episodes. It was a bit slower, but I didn't mind that at all, especially with the last season of a show that's been so consistently good the entire time, and it's only a 6-episode, season, so if it was like 23 episodes or whatever it might be, and this episode was a bit slower, I'd be like, okay, let's move on to, the next one, but I feel like the show is so deliberate with everything that they do, and just getting those little pieces, even if the scene lasts a little bit longer or they pause a little bit longer on the shot, I don't mind. I do feel like they relied a lot on audio in this. The soundtrack really played a part in the story. We had quite a few scenes where the dialogue was taken out and the audience couldn't hear it. I'm sure they recorded it, but during the editing process, they replaced the music when we have, Lizzie begging Tommy to stay right after the funeral, and there's a few scenes where you can kind of read her lips, but having the audience denied that audio and getting to hear exactly what she's saying, Tommy breaking down outside the forest, smashing his gun into the tree. Again, I don't know that the audience necessarily needs to hear what he's saying. I feel like we feel it. We can understand the situation and know that he's very much in pain right now and grieving and heartbroken, and listening to him cry, I don't know that we need that. We can understand what's happening without that, and I always think it's so interesting when they take things away from the audience that we're typically used to hearing. We're used to having those big emotional scenes from other movies, TV shows, whatever it might be, but having the music kind of tell that story of what Tommy might be thinking or feeling, or even just the situation. We didn't have the intro song, but I did recognize the band that plays the intro song playing another song throughout the show, so that was interesting, and the show definitely has an iconic theme song, so I'm very interested to see if it'll come back at all, if they're trying something completely different, because I don't even think they've played it that frequently this season at all. We also find out Tommy has another child out there named Duke, and the way Esme was so kind of casual about it, especially given the very heartbreaking situation that had just happened. She's like, well, one door closes, another one opens, and Ruby's gone now, but you have a new son. And I don't think Tommy is even thinking about bringing a new member of the family home, but also processing at the same time the loss of his daughter and now possibly the addition of a new son. And I mean, the Shelby gang's definitely gotten smaller over the years. We've lost John, we've lost Polly. I haven't seen Finn a ton in this season at all. Michael wasn't in this episode. He's still in jail, but adding a new member into the family, I don't know if that's something Tommy wants to do, or what Lizzie would say if he brings home this new child. And Lizzie's obviously dealing with her own stuff as well and processing losing Ruby. She had so many heartbreaking scenes in this. I was definitely tearing up. That scene with her crying into the horse, the horse thinks it's Ruby coming to the stables and it's not her, and she has to tell the horse that Ruby has passed away. And I feel like animals always know those things, and it was just so heartbreaking. And watching Lizzie, don't burn her, and just, oh, my heart, I was definitely, had some tears. It was such a tough scene to get through, and I feel like the actress who plays Lizzie did such a good job, and I feel like you'd have to really put yourself in that place, and it'd be a very dark and sad place to be, but I feel like she did such a good job and just really carried that scene. Tommy is never never been overly emotional, so I feel like she kind of had to make up for that and really show how she was feeling. And if the two of them had held back, I think it would have been a bit too stoic, especially for the loss of their child. And to see Tommy, you know, ask his brother and say like, hey, I can't, you know, get these words out, can you do it? And Arthur's obviously a wreck as well, he can't pull through, but Tommy just, you know, breaking down. And this, I feel like, was one of the few things that would really, really get to him, and obviously we saw that for sure. I still feel like Tommy's trying to fix this. You know, he's like, there's not enough gold dust, you know, in the world, basically. Like, gold wouldn't fix it. That's what Ruby taught us. That was, you know, the last thing. And the fact that he's going to fund, you know, this tuberculosis or consumption and try and figure out what a cure is, like, he's still trying to make it up to Ruby, and he's still trying to fix everything, even though he can't bring her back and she's not here anymore, unfortunately. And then we have that scene at the end where the doctor, the accountant, is telling him, hey, you've got a year, you know, a year and a half to live, basically, and him just kind of, I think, processing it, but not really realizing the gravity of that situation. I don't think it's sunk in yet. We did see him have some seizures and hallucinations earlier this season, but it's kind of hard to place what that could have been, and now we have an explanation. I was wondering if they were going to answer those questions, and I'm not too sure about this form of tuberculosis and it being in a tumor in the back of his neck. I'm sure Tommy has a lot of plans for this short amount of time that he has left, and even when we hear him say, you know, like to Polly's ghost, just let me get done what I need to get done, basically, let's just get things cleared up and, you know, get things organized. And we had seen Tommy try and unalive himself previously, so maybe he's already kind of faced death in a way. He's definitely been in dangerous situations, and even, you know, after the war, when he came back, he said, you know, I'm already on borrowed time, like, this is just extra because I should have, you know, died over there. And so the fact that, you know, he feels that way, I feel like he's had a lot of time to process what death would look like, and I just don't think he was still ready for it. It's one thing to, like, think about it, and I think it's another thing to be faced with the reality of that this is coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it. And even in the last season, when Tommy was talking about, you know, an enemy he couldn't defeat, I thought he was talking about Mosley and that failed assassination, but now I feel like it might be more literally internal, and he can't beat this tumor. Nobody's going to operate on him. Even if he wanted to, again, I don't think he would survive if they tried, but the fact that he knows his fate is sealed and he's totally helpless against it, I think is his worst nightmare. Obviously horrible news, and I feel like throughout the past season and even this season, they've kind of been toying with the possibility that Tommy might not make it. I thought it would be through other methods. I thought he would take his own life, but the fact that now he has this medical condition, I feel like he won't make it past, you know, episode 6. I feel like they will kill him off in the season finale. Please, no spoilers. I did hear rumors about a movie being created, so if he's not in the movie, that seems very, you know, far-fetched. Like, he's such a strong character, obviously the main character, so I'm very curious to see what's going to happen there, if the tumor will just stop growing possibly or grow slower than they anticipated. But if I know Tommy, there's no way he will let people take care of him. He will not be a burden to anybody. He will do what he needs to do, and then whether it's motivated through this tumor or other things he's dealing with, I feel like he might still take his own life by the end of the last episode. That's my prediction. Please, no spoilers, but I feel like that's kind of where they've been leading us. Obviously, we had that huge cliffhanger ending at the end of the last season, so that scene where they had Mosley and Diana over for dinner and Uncle Jack as well, and everybody was just sitting around the table, and like I said, the lighting in the show is so intentional and so well done, and the fact that they, again, an absence of something, they took away the light. We just had that one chandelier over the table and those super fast whip pans. They really did some interesting cinematography in this episode with those, like, slower, like, playing with the different speeds of the whip pans, and it was a bit disorientating because you're trying to focus and sometimes it's too fast and then other times it's slower, and you're like, okay, let's get to the person, I want to see their response. And the handheld camera work with Tommy running through the forest, and they always have a lot of extreme close-ups on Tommy, and especially like from this angle above, it's meant to be like an intimidating angle when you're like looking down on someone, so to have that shot of like looking down on Tommy kind of puts him in a position of, you know, being weak and powerless, and That's not how I would describe Tommy. Maybe that's how he feels, especially given the news he just received about this tumor. But I love all the intentional pieces they put into that dinner scene with the costuming and the lights and everybody kind of wearing dark colors as well. So basically all you could see was just like their neck up and not even shadows. It was just like pure blackness behind them and just such dark tones. And I definitely think it fit the subject matter of what they were discussing, and heartbreaking to see Tommy make that salute. And I'm very worried for what he's gonna do. Again, it's only 2 episodes left and he's made a lot of promises, so maybe they'll do a time jump. I have no idea. I'm very nervous. And we still know Tommy is writing to Churchill, but again, is he playing Churchill as well? I do think Churchill is one of the few people Tommy legitimately respects, but again, it's so hard to tell. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what will come of that. Fascism has definitely taken over London, and for Ada to get that brick through her window, and we know Ada is not going to stand for that. She definitely stands up for herself, so she went right out there, marched right up to them, and gave them a piece of her mind. But as much as I love that aspect about Ada, I feel like it's going to get her in a lot of danger, because the situation is going to get very big very fast, and I'm worried that Ada will be too brave in front of someone who has more power than she does, and it'll end horribly. And Carl, finding out that his dad is Jewish, I don't think that's what he wanted to hear at all. We've heard him make horrible comments earlier, and even saying how, his little sister who is biracial is going to get them killed because everybody is turning against people of color, and Carl not being on the side of his family, but, being on the side of everybody else and not really having an attachment to his little sister. I'm curious to see how far into the time this season will go before it ends, and how the Shelby family will be affected if they get to the start of World War II, what that looks like, if they'll flee, if Tommy will use it as a business venture, if he'll even be alive for it, if it'll be too late by the time it happens. We definitely had some bonding moments between Tommy and Arthur, in the cellar, and them kind of talking about their childhood and reminiscing. And it was interesting to hear Tommy bring up tunnels again. We haven't heard that in a while. We did see Tommy drink for the first time. He said he'd sworn off drinking since Polly died, but obviously everything with Ruby, he's changed his mind. He started drinking again, and I don't know what the new news of his tumor will do, if he will continue to drink, but I feel like he's not going to go down the road of Arthur. He's not going to become, out of control. He's not going to, pick up this new habit. I feel like he's going to become laser focused on the things he needs to do, and then try and spend as much time with his family as possible. Charlie didn't get tested, but hopefully he's okay. I'm assuming Lizzie doesn't have anything. They didn't bring her any news. And Tommy didn't tell Lizzie. He lied and said it was an accountant. So now Lizzie's going to have no idea what's happening. He's just going to drop dead one day, or unalive himself one day, and she's going to have no idea what's going on. Maybe he tells her in the next episode. I don't know. Maybe he just needed some time to process. But the fact that he's not telling his wife that he only has, a year or whatever to live. We also found out that Gina has been sleeping with Mosley in this episode. Michael is still in prison. I don't know if that's where he'll stay for the remainder of this season. I feel like Tommy and Michael are going to have a showdown. And as we heard with Polly's voice, one of them might not make it out alive. So whether Tommy uses this showdown to put himself at risk and possibly kill Michael and possibly get himself killed, but knowing that that's a risk and he'd be okay with it as a season finale, because that's a huge storyline that's been kind of running underneath, everything so far. So to not wrap that up, I feel like would be a huge missed opportunity. So I don't know when Michael will get out of jail, if Tommy will try and do something while he's in jail, but the two of them definitely need to have some kind of face-off showdown, whatever it is, before the series ends. I feel like even if Michael does kill Tommy, and even Tommy asking Gina, like, oh, what's your plans? Like, what's Michael gonna do? And her boldly lying to his face and him just kind of laughing and walking out the door. Like, he knows he's not an idiot, but I can't see Michael taking over the Shelby company like that was his original plan. I feel like too many things have happened between now and then, and I feel like the Shelby company would just dissolve if and when, unfortunately, when Tommy passes away. I feel like it would either all go to Lizzie, and then she would run, the institutions and the places for children, and then that would kind of be the end of it. I feel like if Michael wants to continue his illegal activities, I don't think Arthur would be involved. Finn, who knows, he's kind of lost in the wind at the moment, but I feel like it would be very much Michael on his own, whether he continues to use the Shelby name or not, who knows. Overall, I enjoyed the episode. I'm very curious to see how it's all going to come to an end, what Tommy's plans for changing the world are, if he thinks he's going to stop fascism, what that looks like, his letters to Churchill, how that's going to become involved. You know, he's got Gina going to Berlin to spy on Mosley for him, and obviously this looming, you know, timeline in the background of his tumor. And this episode definitely made me think of what the show would have been like if Grace was still around, or if Polly was still around, what they had in store, what was planned for her that unfortunately never came to life, because I feel like that would have changed the whole trajectory of the show, and it's just heartbreaking to know that that was taken away from us too soon. I feel like Polly would have made such a huge difference, and her presence is definitely missed in the show. She was one of my favorite characters, and it's definitely not the same without her here. My prediction for the season finale is this battle between Michael and Tommy and his tumor, and I can't see the show having a really happy ending just because it's been such a bleak show so far, but anything is possible. Maybe Tommy will just be happy, you know, finally finishing this, walking away. You know, he says he's just going to do what he needs to do and then stop, but again, he said that how many times before, and it's easier said than done. Maybe he's finally at the breaking point. I hope Arthur can find some happiness. Obviously, Linda is nowhere to be found. He didn't make it his 2 weeks, and even if Tommy had access to Linda, I don't think she'd want to see him. Only 2 episodes to go for this saga of the Shelby family, Peaky Blinders. So thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. Oh, of course, she's gonna want more gold. She's like, oh, did my torture story ruin the dinner party? Oh, my bad. And he threw her chair in the fire. Complete the deal and walk away. Nope. You look like death to his doctor. Come on. Work obviously becomes more important than his health. Yeah, he's not gonna go see the doctor. Yes, it's not an accountant.